This video is not rushed. There are no timers on the screen, no quick cuts, and no pressure to make sourdough perfect. You don't need to take notes, you don't need to pause the video, and you don't need to do everything exactly when I do it. Today, I'm gently walking you through my entire sourdough discard bread routine, from feeding the starter to using the discard you already have, all the way to baking a simple, cozy loaf. This is the routine I use when I want bread on the table, but I don't want stress in the kitchen. When the day is already full, when the house is quiet but my mind isn't. When I don't want to plan 3 days ahead just to bake a loaf of bread. If you've ever looked at your sourdough discard and felt a little guilty, or felt overwhelmed by strict schedules and complicated methods, or wondered if sourdough is supposed to feel this hard, you're not alone. This routine is for real life, for uneven temperatures, for missed feedings, for mornings that start late and evenings that come too fast. Nothing here is fancy, nothing here is fragile. You'll see exactly how I feed my starter, how I decide when discard is good enough to use, and how I turn it into a loaf that's warm, hearty, and deeply comforting, even if your timing isn't perfect. There's no urgency in this process, just a rhythm. Feed the starter, use what you have, let time do some of the work. So if you're craving a quieter kind of baking, something steady, forgiving, and grounding, this video is for you. Set this on while the kettle heats, or while the house is still quiet. Let's slow down and bake together. Even though this is discard bread, everything still begins with the starter. But this is where discard baking feels different and gentler. This is not about chasing peak rise. It's not about catching the starter at the perfect hour. And it's definitely not about watching the clock. We're simply checking in. I take my starter out and just look at it. No poking, no measuring, no expectations. It doesn't need to be tall. It doesn't need to be bubbly like a science experiment. It doesn't need to double overnight. It just needs to be alive. I'm looking for a few simple things. A mild fermented smell, something pleasantly tangy, but not sharp or unpleasant. A few bubbles here and there, even if the surface is mostly flat. And most importantly, no signs of mold or deep neglect. That's it. This is a starter that's been living its life on the counter or in the fridge. It might look a little sleepy, and it might look a little tired, but that's okay. Because discarded bread doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for presence. If your starter looks like this, you're already doing enough. Now I remove most of the starter, leaving just a small amount behind in the jar. There's no need to weigh anything here. No ratios to memorize, just enough starter left to keep the culture going. I feed it with flour and water. Nothing fancy, nothing exact. This feeding isn't about baking bread today, it's about care. It's about keeping the starter healthy for tomorrow, and the next bake, and all the future loaves you haven't planned yet. The discard I've removed, the part that would normally feel like waste, that's what we're using. And this is where the pressure lifts. Because we're not waiting for the starter to rise. We're not watching the jar. We're not timing anything. I set the freshly fed starter aside, loosely covered, and let it rest. It can do its thing in the background, no supervision required. Discard bread works with where you are, with the starter you have, with the time you didn't plan for. And already you can feel it. This process is slower, kinder, and much easier to live with. Next, we'll take that discard, the part you might have questioned keeping, and turn it into something warm, steady, and deeply comforting. Before we mix anything, I want to slow down for a moment. Because once you understand why discard bread works, everything that comes next feels easier. Traditional sourdough asks for precision. It relies on peak activity, that narrow window when the starter is tall, bubbly, and perfectly timed. That's what gives structure. That's what gives lift. And while there's beauty in that, it can also feel demanding. Discard bread is different. It doesn't depend on a perfect moment. It doesn't ask you to catch anything at its peak. Instead, it leans on a few quieter strengths. We're using gentle leavening, not force. And we're using time rather than urgency. Discard has already done part of the work for us. It's fermented, it's complex, it carries depth and character, even if it looks flat or sleepy in the jar. And it does all of that without asking much in return. That's why discard recipes are some of the most forgiving breads you can bake. If your kitchen runs cool, it still works. If your kitchen is full, it still works. If your discard is a day old or a few days old, it still works. There's room here. Room for imperfect timing, room for real life, and room for learning as you go. This bread isn't about chasing rise. It's about building flavor slowly and letting the oven finish the job. And once you understand that, you stop second guessing yourself. You stop wondering if you've missed something. You stop feeling behind. Because discard bread isn't fragile. It's sturdy. It's patient. And it's meant to meet you exactly where you are. And now that you know why this works, we can begin mixing. Calmly, simply, and without pressure. Now we mix. Nothing fast, nothing complicated, and nothing that needs fixing. This part isn't about technique. It's about bringing a few simple ingredients together and letting them become something more. I'll say these slowly because there's no rush to gather them. Sourdough discard, warm water, flour, a little bit of olive oil, salt, and a very small amount of commercial yeast. That yeast is optional, but it's helpful. It doesn't take over the dough. It doesn't erase the sourdough flavor. It simply adds a little reliability, a little structure, especially on days when the kitchen is cool or the discard is on the quiet side. Think of it as a steady hand, not a shortcut. The dough will look shaggy, rough around the edges, uneven and slightly sticky. And that's exactly what we want. There will be a little bit of kneading, a little stretching, a little correcting. If you're used to normal sourdough with the stretch and folds, this might feel unfinished. But this is where discard bread asks you to trust the process. Now I cover the bowl and let the dough rest. This quiet pause is doing far more than it looks like. The flour is absorbing the water. The dough is relaxing, and gluten is beginning to form, without any effort from you. Nothing is being forced. Nothing is being rushed. This rest is one of the quiet secrets to calm, forgiving baking. It's where the dough starts to come together on its own, and where you're allowed to step away. Make some tea, wash the bowl you just used. Let the kitchen breathe. When we come back, the dough will already be different. And we'll keep going, slowly, simply, and without pressure. After some time has passed, I check in. I'm not expecting a dramatic rise. Discard bread rarely leaps or surprises you. I'm looking for something quieter. A slight lift, just enough to know it's been working. When I press the dough gently with my fingertip, it feels soft, a little airy, not tight, not dense. It might not double, it might not even look impressive, and that's okay. What matters is how it feels. Lighter than before, more alive, and more ready. Because the dough includes a small amount of yeast, this stage is steady and predictable, but still unhurried. There's no rush to catch it at the perfect moment. No narrow window to hit. If it goes a little longer, it's fine. If it's ready sooner, it's fine. Discard bread gives you room to breathe. This is a good moment to step away. You don't need to hover. You don't need to check every few minutes. Let the dough do its quiet work while you tend to something else. Fold laundry, step outside, start dinner. Let the house move around you. This bread doesn't need your attention right now. It needs time. And time, when you let it carry the process forward, is one of the most reliable ingredients we have. When we come back, the dough will be ready for shaping, and we'll bring everything together, slowly and simply. Once the dough feels ready, I turn it out gently. No shaking the bowl, no pulling it free. I let gravity help and guide it onto the counter with my hands. There's no heavy flouring here, just enough to keep things from sticking, and no aggressive handling. This dough has already done a lot of work. Now we're simply helping it hold together. I begin shaping slowly, folding the dough in on itself, one side at a time, not tightening it all at once, not forcing it into shape, just building gentle tension, enough for the dough to support itself, without losing the softness we've worked for. Discard dough can feel a little tighter than traditional sourdough. It can feel a little bit more like a sandwich bread, and that's normal. This kind of dough doesn't fight back. It asks for patience instead. If it sticks, I pause. If it resists, I wait. There's no need to rush this part. Some days I shape it into a simple round, like today, and other days I tuck it into a loaf pan. Both are good options. A free-form loaf feels rustic and open, perfect for when you want something simple and honest. But a loaf pan offers support. That's especially helpful if the dough feels extra soft or if the day feels long. There's no right choice here, just the one that fits your kitchen, your time, and your energy. Once it's shaped, I cover the dough again. This final rest is quieter than the last. There's nothing left to adjust. The dough rises gently, settling into its shape, preparing for the heat of the oven. You don't need a dramatic lift here, just a little fullness, a little softness. This is the last pause before baking. And if you stayed with the process this far, you're already most of the way there. Next, we'll move to the oven, where all of this patience turns into something warm and real. When the dough is ready, I preheat the oven. Not in a rush, not to an exact second, just warm, steady heat. enough to help our loaf transform without stress. I place the shaped dough inside, and then I step back. This is one of my favorite moments. All the gentle folds, all the quiet rests, all the patient waiting, now turn into aroma. You don't have to do anything. The oven does the work. As it bakes, the kitchen fills with a familiar, comforting smell. Warm, tangy, homey. It's the kind of smell that makes you pause, lean on the counter, and just breathe it in. Sourdough discard doesn't have to feel like an obligation. It doesn't have to be a chore, a waste, or a source of stress. Instead, it can be an invitation to slow down, to notice the warmth of your kitchen, to use what you already have instead of letting it go, to bake bread without pressure, without rigid schedules, and without worry. This routine, gentle, forgiving, and practical, is the one I return to again and again when I want something simple, reliable, and nourishing. And if you would like to have this entire discard bread routine written down in one calm, clear place, I've done that for you. It's linked below so you can follow along step by step without worrying about missing a moment or a fold. Thank you for baking along with me today, for slowing down, for letting the kitchen guide you gently, and for trusting that even the simplest dough can turn into something warm and beautiful. I'll see you in the next quiet moment in the kitchen, where we'll slow down again and make something comforting, steady, and alive.